So up next, Tegan, you want to come up? So Tegan is actually a friend of mine. We met back in like 2016 or 17 in San Francisco, and she's just one of the builders in the space. So I'm super excited to be introducing her and her panel. Come on up, guys. So this particular panel is Multimedia NFTs, the intersection of art and data. I just want to preface this a little bit by telling you guys that data is more expensive than oil, and every single one of us are providing data to the data hogs. I don't know what to call them, the data monsters, but we're not getting paid for it. Times are changing. So Tegan will probably tell you more.
Amazing, thank you so much, and thanks everyone for being here. So today we're actually gonna talk about multimedia in the NFT space. So we're kind of beyond just images, just profile pictures. Like NFTs have gone beyond that into music, into video, and all of these incredible panelists are building in the ecosystem. And so I would love to allow you all to introduce yourself briefly and the projects that you're working on.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Edua Sykes. I'm the events manager and the digital fashion consultant at KnownOrigin.
Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Kingsley. I'm the CMO over at Upshot.
Hi everyone, I'm David Moore, one of the co-founders of KnownOrigin, which is a digital arts platform. I want to just thank you for letting me join this cool stage.
Awesome, and I'm Forrest Browning, one of the co-founders and chief product officer at Audius.
Amazing, so I know you all have an incredible exhibit out front, and if anyone in the audience hasn't checked it out yet, it's pretty great. So what connects us all is the data. So the graph indexes the data on Ethereum. These projects are all building on Ethereum. They all have subgraphs on the graph. And they have a really incredible exhibit out front displaying immersive art, immersive NFTs. So I would love to just let you guys chat a little bit about that immersive art. Maybe if you want to start and talk about how you kind of curated a lot of that art.
Well, for this one, it was really exciting when you guys came to us and asked us, hey, do we want to partner up and do something very exciting in Miami? And David and I were like, yes, let's do this. So for this one, what we did was we asked some of our generative artists like Brendan Dawes, Joshua Chaplin, Hey Hasmus, to create artworks specifically for this event. So they went to the subgraph, KnownOrigin subgraph, and they took the data of like the top selling accounts that are on our platform and also the biggest collectors. And based on that data, they created these artworks that you can find on our stand. And they just reflect how much these collectors are helping artists on KnownOrigin. So when it came to the whole idea, we just wanted to give people an immersive experience. We didn't just want it to be, just a bunch of screens there standing. We wanted for people to get immersed in the experience of NFTs. So that's why you have like a silent DJ party, you have your headphones, you can have fun there. So really, that's what our exhibition is about right now, but I would love for David to tell us a bit more about it.
Sure. So how's everyone doing? So the guys from the Graph reached out to us, said we're doing something in Miami, would you be interested? We were like, hell yeah, sounds awesome. They also said Upshot and Audius would be involved, so we immediately started thinking how we could bring not only art, data, and music together, but like how can we make that super interesting? The Graph is one of our big foundational infrastructure pieces that we use at KnownOrigin. We're big on decentralization. The Graph is basically the place where we store all our data. We don't hold any of that kind of rich data. It's all beautifully opened for people to check out. So we take that, and then what do? We give it to 3 of the top data visualization artists on the planet. A guy called Brendan Dawes, Josh Chaplin, and Hamas, like Edua said, and they've turned it into these amazing, ultimately like data visualization pieces in the booth, and then combine that with bringing Audius on. You've suddenly got this immersive experience where we're taking data, art, and music and bringing it together in one place. I've been doing like live Instagram feeds of people just like silent discoing around this awesome set of screens, and I'm just like flying through with my camera, kind of just getting everyone absolutely buzzing and like smiling. And that, for me, That's what this is all about. It's like bringing people together to experience something that's not just like another art show. For me, at KnownOrigin, we have to start showing what the future can be. And if it means blurring the lines between entertainment, music, and art, then I think that is where the exciting edge is. I think if we just go to a white wall gallery, take down a bunch of pictures and put up a bunch of screens, that's not what we're about. We have to be doing something different. I'll hand over to Upshot on the graph to tell us like how sick their data is and why it makes for such a good visualization piece.
Sure. I think we're in this time where we get to test out a lot of fun things about how people interpret data, how people react to data. And one of the fun things that we're doing at Upshot is we've developed a series of pretty complex machine learning algorithms that essentially do what you see in traditional finance, where you have market-making algorithms, pricing options using Black-Scholes and partial differential equations and a bunch of yawning type things. But what we've seen the most is that people don't react the same way when you just give them a spreadsheet, when you just show them a list and you make them red and green and stuff. But as soon as you show them the line, as soon as you show them a scatter plot, as soon as you frankly show them some sort of generative piece that's interpreting the data in a way that's engaging, the mind works in an entirely different way to connect with that. And I think it's just, prior to this point, it was virtually impossible to get this level of data richness and the sort of visual things that artists are making. And now I feel like we're in this renaissance where there's a lot of new possibilities being opened up, and we've seen huge commercial success with projects like Art Blocks and others. But I think we're just scratching the surface as to how data becomes more and more beautiful and useful over time.
Absolutely. And Forrest, do you want to share? I mean, people call Audius decentralized Spotify, so share a little bit about what Audius is doing here.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't stopped by the booth, it's right back there. I definitely recommend folks come check it out. But I think audio helps sort of round out the full holistic experience, right? I think visuals are very, very important, and obviously for NFT galleries, I think they're key. But I think in order to make it more immersive, in order to get that full Web3 experience, and in order to frankly just have a little bit more of a brand and a little bit more of a kind of like I guess I would say ethos that starts to build around this community. I think audio is a very crucial part of that. So to that effect, we've got a really cool silent disco that's set up to pull from Audius, and there's a visualizer aspect to it as well. And yeah, I think it really just helps tie the whole thing together.
Absolutely. And multimedia, so I want to talk a little bit about what's beyond what we're doing here today. I was at with Quentin Tarantino in New York City, and he was thinking about how can he, beyond just the scenes from Pulp Fiction, how can he take that a step further? So maybe making an NFT of the expression of someone as they see those scenes. Can you talk a little bit about what you're excited about beyond just what is possible today or what we're thinking about today?
Do you want me to add? I can add to that. So yeah, I'm big on kind of NFTs as experiences. So whether that's in a kind of the virtual world, a shared experience in a virtual world, where you ultimately can own that experience rather than just own things within it. And I think I read somewhere Web 2 was a bunch of connected data points, and Web 3 is a series of connected experiences. And I think when we move forwards into really kind of exploring what interoperability looks and feels like, as well as having the ability to not only own an environment in a VR world or an AR environment, then giving people access to that environment via an NFT. So if you can imagine that we're in a virtual event like this, and if I want people to join and share this experience, I can send them an NFT that gives them an access token to arrive in the space, and then they appear as whatever kind of avatar they want to be, whether it's an ape or whether it's a 6-foot flame. But we can start expressing ourselves in these virtual worlds in much more interesting ways. And I think owning the ability to express yourself creatively in a world that's not where we are right now is going to be really freaking awesome. Kids are already doing it on things like Roblox and Fortnite. The bit that's missing is the true ownership. So if Fortnite want to take your account down and you lose the $4,500 worth of skins and battle passes, like there's nothing you can do about that. And I think kids are quickly learning that actually data, the value of data and the value of digital assets is super important. So yeah, I think going forward, it's going to be take what Epic Games are doing when they have 40 million over 3 days going to an Grande event, bring that into a metaverse where it's a shared experience and we all own a little bit of that. And if you want to bring your inventory in with you so you can change your outfit, your hairstyle, your sneakers, your look during the show, then that interoperability piece is going to be super key. So for me, shared experiences in the metaverse is going to be super interesting going forward.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think at Audius, we kind of think of it in the same way. So for those that aren't familiar, Audius is basically a decentralized streaming service. You can think of it like Spotify or SoundCloud. Behind the scenes, it's entirely decentralized. But importantly, we don't necessarily beat people over the head with that. Most of our users don't know that crypto is involved. And so the interesting part there is we've added the ability to show off your NFTs on your artist profile. But I don't think that NFTs, even as they exist right now, are probably where that goes in 3 or 4 or 5 years. I mean, even to that effect, we've called the tab on the artist profile, we've called them collectibles, not NFTs. And the joke we make is that collectibles are what NFTs aspire to be when they grow up, right? I think there's a lot more that NFTs can be than just JPEGs. I think there's a whole lot of really cool things. And I think if you think of it more as a digital collectible, there's a wide variety of things that people collect today. And I think if you just call it a digital collectible, it helps the imagination quite a bit, right? Rather than putting yourself in a box. And I mean, to the Tarantino point, right? What if it was a movie scene that would only unlock if you were in the area the scene was supposed to be shot at, right? Like you could geofence the NFT to only play the video in that particular part of the world or something like that. There's all these really interesting things you can do where you can take a normal collectible asset and then add programmatic things to it. And yeah, I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of what that looks like.
Yeah, the programmable NFTs and interactive NFTs is going to be something really exciting. And the movie scene treasure hunt would be pretty epic, right? You could like travel around and scoop up these little movie scenes, and it only triggers the NFT when you're in that geolocation. That would be pretty cool.
And I think there's so much focus right now on art and collectibles and things that are kind of more sexy, digestible, interesting, something you want to show on a screen. But I think we're probably all in agreement here that this is really just the foot of a very tall mountain of the tokenization of everything of value in the traditional financial system. Your mortgage is going to be some sort of either semi-fungible token or a non-fungible token, your health insurance, all the risk premiums, et cetera. And I think I recently had this really interesting experience joining a DAO that I thought was indicative of some of the factors that you're describing here about gating, accessing through tokens, the ability to move through different parts of the metaverse. It's a DAO called Temple DAO, and I'm not necessarily affiliated with it beyond my own injection of liquidity in it. But the reason I bring it up is it's an entirely different sort of approach. You go to a bank, you want a loan, or you go to a bank, you want to put a certificate of deposit down. They're going to give you some menial, ridiculous percentage that's comically low compared to crypto APYs. And then you sign a bunch of documents, you have a little small talk with a person in a suit and a tie, they give you their card, they tell you they can talk about something, you can check in online, and that's it. That's the sum total of your experience with this serious financial asset of yours. It took me 3 full days to join Temple DAO. They could have just gotten my money day one, but because they wanted to curate a very specific type of community members who joined their liquidity pool, they involve different parts of the metaverse. I had to go into CryptoVoxels to solve a puzzle with other people who are, part of this community. I had to get in their Discord and have conversations with real human beings to see what they were doing. I had to collab with people to try to make things happen. And as a result, I'm earning 3,600 APY. And so I think generally, we'll see if it rugs, whatever. In 17 days, this entity took in $180 million in liquidity through this process. And so I think that we're just starting to scratch the surface of, oh, you have this token? Cool. Our interests are aligned. Let's get involved. Let's do something. And I think that, sky's the limit in terms of what's going to be possible in the future. And the money is definitely following it already.
Absolutely, and there's actually upstairs, I believe there's a VIP room that you can only get into if you have a CryptoPunk or an ape. So there it is in action.
I just want to add, when it comes to shared experiences and what's coming in the near future, the very near future, I just want to talk about digital fashion as well, because that is something that we have at KnownOrigin. So we have some artworks, digital artworks that feature digital fashion. Digital fashion, just in a nutshell, is like clothes that are created using 3D software, such as Marvelous Designer, Cloud 3D. And so in these artworks, imagine if you could have your favorite jacket physical, like a physical jacket, but you can take that to the metaverse. Like, how do you take your physical items to digital spaces, or how do you take digital items to your physical space? Like, it's it's a crossover. So through NFTs, you can do this. Say you buy an artwork, and that artwork gives you access to these physical jackets. So in the artwork, you have a gown, and as an unlockable feature, you will have a made-to-measure gown sent to you. So that's how you do the crossover, and that's how you can, access to digital assets, and how you can just explore in a digital space, and also just explore with your digital identity, because we have to remember that it's an extension of our reality. So that's how we're gonna be exploring our identities in the metaverse in the next few years.
I love that. I'm ready to convert all my wardrobe to the metaverse. I want to expand on something David mentioned around like the deplatforming. I think that is, decentralization has become a buzzword, but it is really important for that one. That is one of the reasons why. And Bitcoin and Ethereum and the graph all share a common ideology around decentralization and permissionless open source technology. How does that correlate to the NFT space? Do you feel like people in the NFT space share that ideology? Do you think that we as the builders have to just share that ourselves to bring that to the space? What are your thoughts there?
So for me, we have to work hard for the 15% commission that we take as a platform, right? So, and creators have to make a choice who they put their patronage to, because not every platform deserves it. Some platforms are super centralized under the umbrella of crypto and NFTs. But actually, when you go and play, you're pretty locked into their ecosystem, you're locked into their token, or you're locked into their they have their own wallet. KnownOrigin from day one was like, we don't want your email address, we don't want to scrape your data. If you can connect your Web3 wallet to KO, you can hit the buy button, you can buy an NFT, it's yours. That was like a big thing for us from day one. We're not there to kind of create profiles of who these people are that are buying things. That, for me, that feels like the old world. Like, I'm old enough to know, we got the internet and we actually thought it was free. We genuinely thought we were getting all this cool stuff for free. And then we slowly realized after a decade that actually we were the product and we were the ones that were being sold on for billions of dollars. Like Web3 and this new thing that we're building right now, we don't want to echo that stuff that happened in the past, because we know where it leads. It leads to toxic, I nearly swore there, but toxic big organizations, corps, whatever. We want to build something where actually it's either it's owned by the people that are contributing. It still boggles my head that the same people that are pushing awesome freaking artwork on Instagram, turning Instagram into a multi-billion-dollar company, have no way of monetizing that content. And they still push out awesome artwork on there. And I reach out to people and I'm like, that cool thing you've just posted on Instagram, you could literally monetize your craft by doing this thing over here. And that for me is like this education of moving people away from the Instagrams of the world, the freaking Facebook meta nonsense, and move them into this new world where they actually participate in something that actually makes a difference, and they can start really monetizing the craft that they're giving away for free. And I think you make a choice. You go down, there's going to be a fork in the road where massive corps and brands get in, they call it a metaverse, they call it decentralized ownership, and people are going to make a choice where it's either you go down the path where you truly own something, or you go for convenience and you log in with Facebook. There's going to be a fork in the road. That's probably going to happen in 2022. It's down to us in this whole space, in this ecosystem, to get people to understand that they can not only own this stuff, but they can actually shape it as well. And they can build a much better internet experience for the next generation that isn't controlled by 3 or 4 massive corporates. So for me, it's about building something that is aligned with community ownership, is aligned with trustless nature of decentralization, and allowing people to have the experience that they want, own the things that they want without us being this like data scrape monster that we've kind of lived with for the past 20 years.
Yeah, and everyone here is like walking the walk. So everyone is building on a decentralized stack with Ethereum, with the graph. Their data is open. So you as a builder can actually leverage their data, unlike Facebook that has closed APIs. So you're not going to be able to access Facebook's data. That's Facebook's moat. They're walking the walk. But Christopher, please.
Well, and I appreciate that point. And I think one of the coolest things that we've gotten to witness over the course of especially this last cycle, but most definitely this last year, is seeing people who otherwise would have to interact with one of these centralized services, somebody who has to go through a gatekeeper, especially when we think about the traditional art world, gallerists, the sort of art industrial complex. And I'm in no way saying that gallerists don't provide substantial value to their artists, but I do think that in the past it was the only road for you to gain significant cachet as a visual artist especially, and to see people be able to link up with people who can write a simple smart contract, platforms like Manifold and others that are not trying to own your contract, but are just trying to allow you to build your own smart contract. If you can build a website, you can mint and sell your own NFTs ad nauseum as you wish. I do think we're going to see an interesting wrestling of these concepts with things like OpenSea and its obvious centralized dominance. I love OpenSea, but I also have a love-hate relationship with OpenSea for a variety of reasons. And I think one of them is the type of contract they wrap every NFT in, right? Where you have to ultimately, if you really want to make it interoperable or super portable, you got to wrap it again in a new contract. So I do think that we're going to witness, if more platforms operated, frankly, with the philosophy that KnownOrigin did, I think we'd make progress a lot more quickly in this regard, but I think we're going to see a lot of very interesting battles where people are going to be scraping to try to have that kind of experience against some of the natural forces of centralization. But the bottom line here is 15-year-olds are making millions of dollars minting their own NFTs, not asking parents' permission, not asking companies' permission, not asking anyone's permission, and that's never happened before in the history of humanity, right? Very exciting time to be alive.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. But with Audius, we walk a fine line there, right? Because I think at the end of the day, some of the barriers are legal and existing power structures, but I think, frankly, some of the barriers are also just usability, right? Like it or not, regardless of the legal structures backing everything, people don't want to spend half an hour to sign up for a service. And so I think that ends up basically alienating and isolating a whole bunch of folks that might otherwise use one of these Web3 services. And so with Audius, I think the dream of Web3 is, at least for Audius, connecting fans and artists directly and then getting the hell out of the way. I think, we don't want to be sitting in the middle of that, monetizing the data or anything like that. We just want to build tools that help artists connect directly to fans and fans find their new favorite artists. But on the flip side, we also have to do a good enough job on kind of the UI, UX experience so that normal people can sign up for this thing without having to figure out what a seed phrase is for MetaMask or something.
Absolutely. And I guess on that, I want to quickly, we only have 1 minute left, but I want to quickly address how do people get started? My brother, he's an artist, he's an illustrator. How does he get started in the NFT space? Where should he go? What should he do?
Download a digital wallet. That's your gateway to this new world. Just download a digital wallet, and then when it says connect wallet, sign a transaction. Never give your seed phrase to anyone, ever, even your mum. Never give a seed phrase to anyone. We have people in our support channel saying, I know I shouldn't have done this, but someone's just contacted me saying that X, Y, and Z, and I logged onto a platform that asked me for a seed phrase. You even told us you shouldn't have done it, and then you went ahead and did it. Never do it. But yeah, first download a trusted digital wallet and then enjoy what it means to be connected to this Web3 world. And there's experiences that you can join and just connect your wallet and land straight into Decentraland, Crypto Voxels, Sandbox. They're not trying to monetize you when you get there. You literally land there, you can go and explore 15 galleries in like half a day in this virtual world. And then you could build from there.
And I do feel like, to a large degree, so much of the learning, you just have to make mistakes and play around. I do think the key thing that David identified, if you can just never give anyone your seed phrase, then you need to go out and make a lot of other mistakes. Go buy some art, make some art, mint some things on some platforms, get on some platforms and
Experiment,
play around.
man.
Experiment.
Agreed.
Amazing. Well, I hope you check out the booth, get to know these amazing builders in this space, and thank you so much for listening.